Hello everyone, I'm Ken Pump. Thank you for joining us. Now, on October 22nd, 2014, Turner Networks dropped Dish Network, preventing them from carrying channels like TNT, TBS, and TruTV. You know, that's very upsetting. And to think that about a few weeks ago, Suddenlink dropped the Viacom channels. Well, Dish Network dropped the Turner-owned stations because of a similar dispute. So it kind of makes me wonder, if you're on Dish Network, how are you going to be able to watch TNT? Well, here's an answer: get cable. Obviously, cable TV is the best solution on that, depending upon where you live, of course. You know, some parts of the country, you know, not all cable franchises get the same channels everywhere you go. But, you know, Dish Network and Turner couldn't come up with an agreement to carry TNT and TBS and TruTV, for example, you know. This includes CNN, which means the people that have Dish Network are going to have to get cable TV in addition to what they already have just to get TNT. I mean, come on, really? Why did it have to be that way in the first place? You know, within this year alone, the Weather Channel was dropped by DirecTV, but then it came back. But prior to that, Dish Network dropped the local stations here in Abilene, including KTXS, MeTV, and the CW. They came back on, but then DirecTV dropped the Weather Channel, then it came back. And now we're dealing with Suddenlink Cable as well as Dish Network dropping different owned stations at different times. I'm wondering what's going on. I have an aunt that likes to watch Nancy Grace, and now she can't even watch that anymore because HLN2 was dropped. It just doesn't make sense how something like that would happen within the same year. I call that excessive disputes. Because if they take place within the same year at different times with different companies, it's going to cause problems. You know, if you have to order satellite in addition to cable, there's always going to be a problem. Because you're paying for both services. Why do that when you don't need to? Or don't have to, rather. I don't like the idea of paying for both cable and satellite, because that wouldn't work. But if you have to do it, you have to do it. Just make sure that the bills are not due at the same time. You know? That part's easy. You just have to save enough money to do it. And still have what you need in advance. Mm-hmm. Ooh. And on top of that, I heard about this guy that called 911 in Virginia because he didn't get his refrigerator. And he ordered it from Sears too. So it kind of makes me wonder, why is it that they're ordering it but they're not getting it? Well, that's because Sears recently closed down a store in Virginia where my Uncle David was from, which is in Chesapeake, Virginia. Although I'm not saying that's where he's from, I'm saying it's a mall that closed down. And I'm thinking that may have had something to do with what happened down there. And then I find out the same thing happened in West Virginia as well. Another guy called 911 because he didn't get his refrigerator there also. What is going on in those two states these days? It's bad enough. Most of them took place in Florida back in the day, within a few years' time. When one woman called 911 3 times because McDonald's ran out of chicken McNuggets, and one guy called 911 because Burger King was out of lemonade, and one guy called 911 because Subway didn't give him his dressings, and one lady called 911 because Subway put marinara sauce on the pizza. Those stories just do not add up at all, but they happen anyways. But I remember doing one show about a guy that called 911 because McDonald's didn't give him enough burgers. He got arrested, and then he was out of jail. Of course, he still eats at McDonald's, but, you know, just next time check your food before you leave. He learned his lesson the hard way after having one day in the slammer. Man, that just doesn't add up. What doesn't add up is you pay for something and you don't get it. And then you have to switch to another provider in order to get the channels you originally wanted to watch. Come on, guys, really? I remember hearing about a woman that called 911 because she didn't get cable service. Which, by the way, that was completely unrelated to the incident with Suddenlink. This was somewhere else. I got a hunch that about a month and a half from now, Dish Network will probably bring TNT back, as they're still working on agreements. Suddenlink, on the other hand, decided not to put them back on ever again. I want to thank you for watching.